Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Ruben?
I am doing great, and welcome everybody to Cali Cocktail Hour, Feelings Friday. We have a great guest today for you, and I'm gonna bring up the. There you go. See, tonight's guest, Reiki practitioner and life coach,
Nice.
Corrie Taylor. And I'm gonna have to ask her how to pronounce that middle name. I don't want to mess it up, so I'll wait till that point. Yeah. So how's everybody doing? How you doing tonight?
Well, I mean, at this very moment, I'm doing well, but it's been a heavy first week of 2021.
Well, what did you expect anything less?
I mean, things have been happening in the world, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, so
So Tim
I'm
said
really,
hello, Jan, Cora, and everybody else. Hello, welcome,
hi,
Tim.
Tim.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's been a pretty what do you call it? Eventful start of the year.
indeed it was.
Yes, which I think we're probably going to need to to get that going, stuff like that too. So, yeah. How are you feeling though? I mean, like I had an emotional hangover on Thursday. I was like, I'm like, this is history. I got to watch it. I got but I became very emotionally drained after that. So, but now I'm
Yeah.
back. I'm back.
No, I think you're right. It was a lot, and there's so many layers to what
Yeah.
we witnessed, or even so much unpacking of feelings still. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I'll never be completely finished unpacking what
Yeah.
we experienced. But
And
yeah, I think you're right. Thursday, it's like, how can you focus on anything? And I mean, we're still in a pandemic, by the way. Like, we're
yes,
still,
that's true.
yeah.
So
So
many,
every
so
day,
many things, and
so many things, and here
yeah,
we are.
yeah. So, hey Chris, Chris is here. Hey Chris, how you doing? Chris is out.
Chris.
Yeah, we thank you for coming out, Chris. Always enjoy seeing you and feeling you because that's what we do here. We feel people,
I
right?
have to say, Ruben, I've made so many friends during the pandemic that I've never actually met in person. So I
Yes,
look forward to someday having like a Cali Cocktail Hour in
a real
in
time.
real time, like in real space, and actually meeting Chris finally, or
Yeah,
actually finally meeting Melissa.
yeah. Well, you know what, Melissa, I haven't seen her in so long. Like I thought I saw her, all the time. Like I'm like, oh yeah, and I haven't seen. I saw her maybe twice in 2 years,
Yeah,
and
really.
I didn't realize that. Yeah. So
Oh, no, and now like I've never actually met her. Oh, Dina says it's chaotic. Yeah,
yes,
I feel
yeah,
that.
yeah,
But I mean, now I asked Melissa for like her husband's latke recipe.
yeah.
So
See,
that's just where we're at now.
well, it's a good thing, and everybody, out here, we are here. You can bring out any kind of feeling you have out tonight, and we would love for you to, ask questions and, join us tonight. Tonight, I am drinking a special mezcal, which this is the best way to get it from with the label like this. It's a tepasate
Oh, that's
from
when you know it's
Oaxaca.
good.
Yes, these are
Just like
made from
that.
the hands of the people. The money goes back to the people too. So
Love
I'm
that.
excited about that. Um,
If
so that
there's
is,
a way to like get some of that or purchase some of it or support that,
yeah, yeah.
Escalera, that'd be great.
Well,
So,
you remember you had this during
oh,
your mezcal karaoke night.
oh, right.
Yeah.
Seems so long ago now.
See?
Yum, indeed.
That was
I'm
the jam.
drinking
Yeah.
mulled wine actually,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it was made by he's a local bartender named Seneca Bar, and he's usually at the Grand or at other places, but he
Yeah.
sells his own mulled wine. So
Yeah. And I think at this point, everybody's. You know well, I should say I love about the pandemic. What I love about this time or bits of this time is that we're able to sit with ourselves, right? And I've seen so many people be creative in so many different ways, and I think that's a wonderful thing that's come out of this is that you learn how to cook, or you sell your stuff, right? You sell your wares that you're selling, and people come up with some really creative, um, uh, you know, uh, everything to do out there. And I do want to put this up because this is another one. And I was talking to Maya, and the Black Artist Fund is another one. A good group. So if anybody out there, if you have a little bit of money, I know it's tight, but the Black Artist Fund is a great where to put a little bit of money for black artists to have their to have I think they do grants and they do some really good work. So and I told Maya I do want to support and if I have any other name out there, restaurants, I would love go to Caspa, support all these local, support your local people. That's a wonderful thing to do too. So so let's go on to anything to say to everybody out there. Just say hello, everybody. And also, if you can type in your name in there, just so we know who's in there, like just a hello or how you're feeling tonight. That would be great. So, but right now we're going to take you to a time, a long time ago, long in the 80s.
Oh.
We're gonna go to a club. The music's, I'm gonna play up to date music. But the time is where we can go to a different what do you call it, time period, somewhere different, and then we'll come back, and we will bring Corrie up. So I just want everybody to enjoy themselves. Get your drink out there, and we'll come out there right now. So let me get you right now. Sorry, a little bit here. There you go. And thank you, everybody. Welcome. Raquella, good evening, Raquella. Join the dance party. Ooh, Maria's here too. Welcome.
Speaking of 80s, it's Friday.
Right.
Are we in love?
Yes. Yes, you are, actually. Jace, hi, everybody. Oh, look who's here.
Oh, your mom!
Yeah, see?
So cool.
As we debut Corrie's live streaming event. So sit back, relax, dance for a little bit, hang out. We'll see who's here. We'll go back. We have Zach.
Salud.
We got Chris. Salud, everybody. We love you. If you're only here for one thing, is to hear that we love you. We do love you.
Yeah.
Welcome to Cali Cocktail Hour. Yes. This is the beauty of...
We need to bring back
Yeah, Danny.
style. Amazing.
I lived it, so...
I know. I'm so glad this person zoomed in to really notice the details.
Yeah. Let's bring Corrie on stage. Yeah. Welcome to Cali Cocktail Hour, everybody. This is Corrie's debut in the live stream.
Hi, everyone.
Do you remember dancing that close to people?
Yeah, I used to hug. Smoking a clove, my lips painted.
Yeah. Yes, I do too. That leopard print mohawk is amazing.
My bestie.
Oh shit, yeah, see? Wanna buy shit, yeah. And this song is called Night Buster.
Nice.
It's amazing.
The artist is Duck Ma. See? It's true. I was a wild one.
Always wild.
That's right. Here's the breakdown. Well, salute and cheers everybody for coming to Cali Cocktail Hour. We will bring... Uh-oh. It's happening, Corrie.
Type in some of the stories.
That's right. Yeah, I miss dancing. That's right.
She's trying to embarrass me now.
Too. Cheers, Zach. Learning a lot.
I miss dancing. That's why we play this. We can bring you there to that time. At clubs. All right. Let me take that out now. Remove it from the stream. How you doing?
Hi.
Hello. We have some hellos. Hello, Heather. How you doing? Um, get
Brooklyn,
it, Corey?
Hey, Brooklyn.
Yeah. Popping in
bopping
my
in my
seat.
seat.
Right.
For
Well, we'd like to welcome you, here to
Thank
Cali
you.
Cocktail Hour, and I'm so glad that. Sorry, one thing about mezcal, it can give you sometimes like the spirit comes out. So,
Hmm.
and we also have Serge Ace, who is in Chicago. I think DJ in the 80s were New Wave Dance Party. Yes. Yeah.
I think I've attended.
Yeah.
I
Uh-oh.
think.
Yeah. Anyway, so how you doing, Corey?
I am doing wonderful. It's a blessing to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you already got some hellos too again, see?
Oh, I got my peeps on the line.
That's
You
right.
do.
Yeah, so we're really excited to have you here tonight. I appreciate you coming out, and we appreciate you coming out. I don't want to speak for Carissa, but I do.
I'm pretty excited.
I'm pretty excited too. What an
I, as
honor.
an individual, am really excited that you came out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There it is. Someone wrote. Jason wrote. Oh,
Hi,
there she
Jay.
is. And then hi, Corey. Yeah, so oh, happy Fridays.
What's
Hey, Chris,
up?
how you doing, Chris? Chris, I got to send you that song. I'll find it. It's a very ending song. So yeah, Corey. So it's nice to have you here. It's great. Teresa told me all about you, and it was awesome to get to know you for a little bit, right? Just
Mhm.
we talked for a little bit, and yeah. So yeah. So anyways, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So we want to, we talked a little bit beforehand, and I didn't want to go through it all because we want to be just like spontaneous as we can be too. And but we did hear a little bit about your story, and actually, we would love to hear like your story and how you got to where you're at this moment in
Sure.
time.
Sure.
Okay.
I love to
Yeah.
share it.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a far back look.
Yeah.
I grew up in a very small farm town here in Northern California, and growing up was kind of hard for me because I went through a lot. Getting right into it, I'm going to be totally transparent. I was molested for many years as a child, and so for me that kind of set the platform for who I was becoming. This happened for many years, and I guess I just kind of, when those things happen, you really, especially as a child, you really just don't know how to absorb that. It just becomes a part of life. I don't really even know that there's a right or wrong to it. It just becomes life. And so as that progressed, and when the family finally found out, a lot of other snowballs started to happen. Some of the family moved out of state because it was a family member. Some of the family moved out of state, which was very heartbreaking as a child for me, because you start to think like you're at fault for that, like you did something wrong.
Yeah.
And so you start to hold these emotions inside, and it becomes very overpowering as a young person not to really have any way of releasing that or even understanding that, because I think we're a product, even our parents are a product of their parents' teachings, and it's ancestral.
Yeah.
That gets traced back down. And if nobody has proper coping skills that are followed through, it's very hard to understand how to do any of that process. And so you just got to live it and feel it and go with it raw. And many times that leads you down a very scary path. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of out in the world doing my own thing, trying to figure it out, living life. And a lot of bullying happened because I was very tomboyish. And then I ended up, I guess, in my teen years, after the sexual interest starts to happen in those times, and I realized that I was more attracted to women. And so growing up in a Baptist Christian family, that was a big no-no, and it was very hard to open up for that. Like there was no support there for any of the feelings that a normal teenager would be having of, oh, I'm attracted to this person, or I have a crush on this person, or it's all very secret, and you just keep it in that closet, and you keep it piled down on top of what happened to you when you were a kid, and on top of whatever, the bullying that's going on, or all the other stuff that's happening in life, just life. And so as I went through, I found my coping mechanism was, well, drugs. It numbed me out. I didn't want to feel these emotions anymore, and I wanted to have a good time, and I wanted to just be out there enjoying life like the rest of these kids were. And it seemed like they were having such a good time, so I went that route, and it wasn't a pretty thing. There was a lot of trauma that happened in those things. You get yourself into really scary situations, and you get sexually abused in those areas as a teenager. You put yourself into parties where you're so inebriated that you have no idea what's happening or where you even are. And, that happened for quite some time. And I would say, and then when I turned 19, I went through another trauma. My father passed away. And it was just like out of the blue. He died from a massive heart attack at the age of 49. So I'm the only child from my mom and from my father with my mom. So that became a whole nother spectrum of life that I could not grasp. Yeah. And at that same time, I came out of the closet. and my mom, I remember, love you, Mom, I know you're on here. Me and her are the best of friends now.
Yeah,
but we went through a rocky road, let me tell you. It was a learning experience for the both of us. And at that time, I remember my mom, I was living in the back of her business because we had we sold the house, we couldn't live there anymore. All sorts of things were happening. I had to quit college. Like, there was a time where I was living in the back of her business, and she came out and was just like, "What's going on with you and that friend of yours? Are you gay? What's happening?" And I just like finally lost it, and I turned around. I was like, "Yes, I'm fucking gay,"
Yeah.
And I just, it was raw, and I just remember the look on her face. She had no words. She hit her knees, and I just walked away. And that was another beginning to a spiral of even more drugs, even more feeling alone, because we had a moment there where we didn't connect, me and my mom, and it was because of my choices of life, that she didn't want to be around the chaos that I was bringing, and I'm sure she was having, I don't want to speak for her, but I'm sure she was having her own set of emotions that she was having to deal with her child going through all of these things and like not being able to reach out and help her. So we both definitely went on a separate pathway for a long time. And she was always there for me. She always did her best for me. And, I have the best mama in the world, but I really put her through it, and I put myself through it at the same time. So definite relationships were tried at that time. And I put myself into rehab, I guess, when I was about, I want to say 27, 28. So I went through that. I got off all the drugs.
Hey, Corrie?
Yes.
So I just want to, before I stop you, we have a really good community here too. And, people wanted to send you some hugging you, right?
Hugging
and
back.
and, thank you for sharing your story.
You're welcome.
And, and this is what, Cali Cocktail Hour is about. We can go deep, and we're here with you. So we love you, and thank you for really thank you. I don't want to stop you from your story, but
you're good.
I also felt that it's, it's good that we, people are giving good energy to you, and,
I
and virtual energy and virtual hugs and love, so
back at you.
yeah. So, and here we have thank you for saying this is where the love comes here, Corrie.
Mm-hmm.
So remember you said sometimes we have you here. So and you're sharing, and
thank you all. Thank you, everyone.
So and thank you for sharing, because it is hard, but we grow through our own stories too, and
absolutely,
and we appreciate you. Yeah. So
every time I tell it, I learn more about myself, and and it's amazing.
Yeah. So thank you. Yes, I just wanted to show you the love coming through.
I appreciate it, everybody. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, where was I?
Rehab at 27.
Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
So I remember the day that I got out of rehab, because it was Thanksgiving, and that happened to fall on my father's birthday that year. So I went back home, and I was watching a video, and it happened to be I had never heard my father's voice since he passed, and it was a home video, and I was listening to it, crying, having all these emotions. And here comes my poor mom walking in with a letter in her hand. And one of my cousins, who was having a child, really had a hard time with me and my preferred lifestyle. So he had wrote a letter, him and his wife wrote a letter to me, basically saying that he didn't want me to be around his child because he was afraid I would basically give the child AIDS. So like, don't touch the baby, don't put your hands near around its mouth, those types of situations. And I just remember losing it again. It was such a raw moment and all these emotions, and I was just newly sober. And it was a very trying thing for our family. It was a very big hiccup because our family's really tight. And luckily we've come a long ways from them. This has been many years.
Yeah.
But at that moment, I definitely had a more raw emotions that I really didn't know how to express or how to release. And it took me into my 30s finally, and I still hadn't really learned anything. I had no true, I guess, mentors around to teach me anything about spirituality whatsoever, or how to have any connection of any kind. So when it took actually me becoming injured, and I was at work one day, all of a sudden I got these shooting pains down my legs, and thank you. And I couldn't walk. I just couldn't hold myself up anymore. And none of the doctors were able to figure out what was wrong with me for I'd say about 1.5 to 2 years. It took, I went from test to test to test, and they could not figure out what was wrong with me. I ended up being in a wheelchair for that long. So I had a friend, and he's a healer. He's an indigenous friend of mine who I've had for many years, but we just never really touched bases on, I guess, that level. And he saw what I was going through, and we connected, and we started talking. And one day we were having a barbecue at his house, and he's a connected individual, was able to connect with spirit, and came out and just started saying a word that neither of us have heard before. So we call it grandfather Google. So we grandfather Googled this word, and it came up as the piriformis, which is a muscle in your hips if you don't know what it is. And basically it was every symptom I had. And I was just like, holy shit. I just witnessed my own miracle, and I really don't know how to feel about that. So within a month, I was walking with a cane. I changed my diet habits. I was stretching differently. There was so much happening in a positive, and I just really, whatever he was doing really clicked with me. And so I asked him, I was just like, it would be an honor, if you would take me under your wing and show me how, you're connecting like this, how you work like this. And he was just blessed by me even asking him. Thank you.
We got some more blessings for you.
Yeah, yes. Thank you so much, Chris. Yeah. And so he took me under his wing. I've been working with him, long story short, for 7 years. And in those 7 years, I have done so much personal growth and healing, leaps and bounds. I'm a totally different person than where I was. And without his mentorship, I don't know if I ever would have reached this level. And it was just an honor, and still is an honor, to be a part of his life. And that's him right there, actually.
That's
Hi,
awesome.
Paul. I love you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So after that path, I ended up going to school. I started school, I think, in my late 30s. I'm now 44, and I just graduated this year from UC Davis. And thank you. And I just want to give back. I've learned so much that I know now that our thought process really can take us to a dark place. It could take us to an amazing place. Yeah. It can have a balance of both, which I think is very important. And, a lot of folks don't have the guidance, just like I was lacking the guidance. And I really think that guidance is needed now.
Yeah.
So that's where I've come and how I've decided to become a life coach.
And then Serge put, wow, what a such transformational healing, Corrie.
Thank you, Serge.
Corrie, I just want to echo what some people have already been saying. And it's like, it takes courage to be this vulnerable. And I know that you said that every time you share your story, you learn a little bit more about yourself, but there is sort of like a restorative or healing practice to just storytelling itself, and to bear yourself so raw for us, or for me, who, we've never met. So I just want to say that it's such a privilege to witness this story and to be here in this space with you. So thank you so much. And there were moments there I was like, that it brings up things for me of my space and my own transformation and my own experiences and my own grappling with people, right? The same people who say they love you and then they hurt you. You, who you seem to love yourself now, have caused yourself pain, and how to reconcile that.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that.
So we got to, like a lot of people here, are saying thank you too, and you have a lot of people here, let me get to Maria. Yeah.
We have to heal from within to shine light into the world.
I agree, Maria. That is amazing.
Oh, look who else is here. The one who got you here.
Teresa. Hi, friend.
Yeah, so Teresa's been on here too. She's going to be on here again soon. So she's like, no, you got to talk to Corrie. And I was like, okay, I get shy. I'm like, I'm all, set it up,
Yeah, right.
She's all, look, she told me a text to send to you, Ruben. I'm like, okay. I mean, I am shy.
I have to call you out on that. You say that every time.
I am.
It's like 3 times a week. I'm so shy.
No, and I said, tell Teresa, I'm like, I'm not going to call, Corrie, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, And she's like,
I'm
no,
so glad you did.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, Teresa's an amazing soul. She is. She brings so much light.
Yeah, and what's great is that like you all know each other, so I am totally what do you call it? Trust Teresa too, and I'm really happy that you're here. I really am, and I love your. I mean, I love your story as far as like because we all have our stories, right? And we all have our pains and all that too. But to see you, like you said, use that and grow how you grow, and sometimes we don't write our stories; we usually become them, and how you become a healer, or how you don't. I didn't. We talked about this earlier about Reiki. We'll go there earlier. Like sometimes you don't mean to go there on the path; it just kind of takes you there, and you're like, okay, well, let's if you open up your heart and open up your mind, you'd be surprised what it takes you, even though sometimes it hurts to get to that point too. And see, so yeah, and I'm glad that you're here telling your story, and I really
too. Thank you. I'm glad I made it.
Yes, yeah, we said that right, because there's gonna be a little bit, but it's kind of the same thing, right? It's
absolutely.
it's the journey.
Yeah, I think the pain though is very important, because how are you supposed to feel? How are you supposed to grow if you don't feel that? Yeah. I mean, you could be like, oh yeah, I know about that. Oh, I know about this. Oh, that, yeah, I've heard about that. But if you don't actually feel the emotion, whether it's horrific or amazingly wonderful, you're never going to understand that energy that's giving, so.
And if anybody has any comments, or questions, sorry, type them in the comments, and I'm sure Corrie would be glad to I mean, you already opened up enough to us, so I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because we had some questions for you during the pre in the green room.
Yeah.
Where the party, the
other party room.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
a phrase that comes to mind as I was listening to you that I kind of hear in my own head sometimes. It's like, freedom is what you do with what's been done to you.
Yeah, amen.
And it's like how in your journey, as you're describing it, I even saw you. I mean, your tone, your voice, your expression as you're going through certain periods. And then eventually you become lighter in your storytelling even. It's like how you've been able to sort of create this space of freedom that, and as we're talking about all feelings being welcome, it's, how this freedom also encapsulates this pain, that it doesn't go away, right?
No.
How do you live with it? And that was something you were sharing earlier. And I'd love for you to kind of illuminate to me, how does one live with pain? Because I think there's just this pressure to get over things.
Well, I don't know that you ever get over anything. I think it's more of a thought process of, I like to call it taking the victim mentality and turning it into a victor mentality. Because for me, when you're stuck in that constant cycle in your mind of, how did this happen to me? Why is this happening to me? These things continue to happen to me. Life sucks, and it's hard right now, especially right now. Life is just a constant. I mean, every week we're seeing new things, and it's just, how do you take yourself from that thought process into realizing that all of these things are lessons?
Yeah.
All of these things are part of what is going to make you stronger if you allow it to. Mm-hmm. So to be able to feel, Sorry, I just read that.
That's a really
okay.
sweet line, actually. I was like,
Hi,
you read it out loud. Yes.
Hi, babies. It's just an important thing to understand that you don't have to live in that dark space. That there is dark and light for a reason. There's a balance in like Dina just said, adapting. Yes, you learn that it's a tool, in my opinion. Once you are able to take the information, and you're gonna have feelings. Boom, it's gonna hit you, and you're like, holy shit, your world just got rocked. Something just really bad happened. Okay, but why? Like, why did this happen? Instead of just full force going into that emotion and just feeling it and raging on it, and if you need to rage for a minute, but pull yourself out of that for a second, because you don't have to stay there. You don't have to continue that thought process of, like how I said, I go down a rabbit hole. That rabbit hole is very, very deep. And you can really start to lose your mind in that constant mind battle that you have. And if you're able to take what's going on here and drop 3 feet and put it into your heart and come at it from a place of love instead of a constant pace of fear, because I think the fear is what's up here. You start to really like talk yourself into a state of panic. That's where the anxiety comes from. That's where the depression comes from. That's where those fears really grab hold. And if you could take those fears, digest them, and process them into, what do I need to learn from this? Like, where can I grow? Or maybe what isn't useful right now in this process? Like, okay, am I in a bad relationship? What is this bad relationship teaching me? Do I have a pattern of these bad relationships? Maybe that's something to look at inside of myself, instead of pointing the finger outwards to everybody else and, oh, they're the problem, not me. So that's what I call mirror work. A lot of the mirror work, when a lot of people don't want to turn that mirror and look at themselves. That's like the scariest thing of all. They want, and a lot of healers are like that. They're like, I'd rather fix everybody else than myself. And I think it's important to be able to turn that mirror on yourself all the time, because that's how we actually grow.
See, and we have a question.
Oh. How can I use this? Are you talking about mirror work, or do you think that's the question? I'm not sure, Dina. I don't want to assume.
It was, yes. I'll pull them up sooner.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, and you think about mirror work right now, don't you think that I want to take society, what's going on now? Now it is time to use the mirror work, right?
Absolutely.
Now you're just like, okay, I try to tell my friends, I go, I don't want to, or my family, I don't want to get political with you, but now let's turn the mirror over and just see what happened, from hate and lies, and like, this is accumulation. So, the mirror work, we should have a huge mirror, probably as big as a Hubble telescope,
right,
and just shine it on the United States, right?
Right.
But individually too, like that's, I think very important that we do that too.
Well, that's where it all starts. I mean, we're such a. Everybody thinks that, oh, I'm just one person. I have such a small voice. How am I really going to make anything change in this world? But if you yourself change the way you feel about life, change the way you spoke about life, change the way you treat others, instead of othering people, instead of thinking people are different than you, just love them and love the path that they're on. It could be a total chaotic path, but that's their path right now.
Yeah.
And love them for that path. That doesn't mean you have to be in their life continuously. I mean, you can love them from afar if you need to, but show them love, send them love. It doesn't have to be hate in any way, because I think the hate comes from like ego bruising. It's like, I'm better than you, and all that ego really gets involved, and it's very hurtful. You can really hurt other people, other cultures, other, everything, just by you thinking you're better than them. For what reason?
Yeah.
Where do you get that idea? So,
have you heard the phrase hurt people hurt people?
Absolutely. Well, that's a narcissistic thing, right? I mean, they want you, anytime you're in pain, you want to bring in lower vibrations, right? You want to bring that person to your level. Yeah. So you're going to hurt somebody to do that.
So how do we, as I think was asked before, and without giving away your practice, because you do this for people, you work with people as a life coach, but if there was one thing we could take away as far as like how can we start to reframe those thoughts in our head as we see them or become more aware, what would be one practical lesson we could apply to our lives?
Personally, it's easy to talk about it, but when something actually happens, that's the moment that you have to start realizing that you're part of the problem. Because if you just live life and you're going through it and you just, you're feeling and going through, you're not taking responsibility for yourself. So at that moment, be like, oh, hold on. I almost call it putting myself in check, because like you're taking that moment and you're going, oh, there is a responsibility that I have in this. What is it? You're not just playing into the emotion. And it's really hard to, when you are coaching someone, because they aren't in that exact moment at that exact time. So you're just giving someone tools to be able to really start to focus and work on what they need to at that moment in time when something does come up, because at that moment, that's when the processing needs to happen. That's when the moment that they need to take a step back, turn the mirror on themselves and be like, what do I have in this part? And not just full force go into that rage and emotion and blame. You have to take responsibility for yourself. So.
And then we have something, Carissa.
Can you read that? Let's see. From Maria. Living with our trauma requires us to learn how to harness our inner strength and knowledge to understand and grow. And sometimes just get out of those dark, deep places and live.
Agreed.
Living with our trauma.
Yeah, it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It stays. But if you can use it as a tool, you can put that in your toolbox and then release the hard stuff that's no longer needed. You don't have to, because it's not happening anymore. What happened to me as a child isn't happening to me right now. But if I still hold on to those same emotions as when I was a child, it might as well be.
Yeah.
It might as well be happening today, tomorrow, and yesterday, But I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
That's all part of my mind.
Yeah.
That's how I choose to think about that situation.
Then we have another one.
Chris says, I have a tendency toward catastrophic thinking, i.e., fearing and assuming the worst in anxious moments. What kind of guidance do maybe you recommend? I'm going to finish that one. What kind of, do you have for shifting this mindset? Oh, it's like an anxiety.
Can I read it one more time?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
You went quick. Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Catastrophic thinking, fearing and assuming the worst. Well, I would have to ask Chris, why do you go straight to fear? Why would that be your first response? Is there a reason that it goes straight to fear?
I think a lot of us are programmed that way, right? I mean, I've learned to do that too myself. I know when I had to go to, I grew up in a really bad father, and so I had to make sure everything was okay, but I also know that within a twist of the moment that things would go bad, right? So even when things are going good, I'm like, oh shit, something's going to happen, right? So it took me a long time to get out of that mindset of fear that no, it can actually go good and you're going to be fine.
So that's like a coping skill then, right?
Yeah, that I had,
okay. So that's like a taught coping skill that you were probably given from, like you said, childhood, from your father. You were in fear of, I don't know, being harmed maybe in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So you protect yourself.
Yeah.
And so that would be the first coping skill that you come to is fear. So I'm afraid. Yeah. Which fear is not a bad thing. I don't want to say that fear is a horrific thing, because I think fear brings great motivation.
Yeah.
It could change a lot of things for you, and it's a great spark. It's just, how do you remove the fear to turn into motivation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot, more recently too, about emotional languages and having that language to express what you feel, right? Mm-hmm. Rather than just like, I'm not feeling good, don't talk to me, right? Instead of people don't, people are like, well, what's wrong with you? And they keep pushing toward you, rather than knowing that if I had something a little more, and like I said, my anxieties, right? My anxieties are there. I'm an artist. My anxieties are there, and I've learned to become friends. I wake up every morning now. I scan my body. I go, okay, so anxiety, what are we going to do today, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll write my notes down. I'll write my, and so these kind of like emotions, like you said, they're not bad. They have them if you learn to to use them, and if you tie anxiety to a word of fear or panic, then it's gonna then that's where you get that catastrophic like mindset going, like, oh shit, this is happening. And then so I've learned to take that kind of energy of my anxiety to to switch it into something different, and like, okay, well, let's control this, or not control, but let's do this, and we'll see how that happens too. So
and it sounds like you have an outlet too, though. You're an artist.
Yes.
So the creative outlet is amazing.
Yeah, but it was
with anxiety.
It was a long journey.
Oh yeah, but you're also able to use it as a tool now, like what you just said. How you wake up and you're like, okay, anxiety, what am I going to do with myself? And you scan your body. You're conscious.
Yeah.
That's a conscious effort.
But and I think what you said earlier, I had no mentor, right? If we had mentors, like like you said, it would have been so much easier if someone in my, like, I was talking to my sister today. I go, my dad, I've never had a conversation with my dad about like, hey, what am I going to do with this? Or never, or anything, any kind of male influence. It was all females were always taking care of me, right? Like my mom died when I was 4 days old. My aunt came in, my sisters came in after that. So, but it's interesting to, to say about mentors and people to look up to, just to ask a question, or just to, and so I just think that's a beautiful thing that you said about the mentors, and just people to be able to guide you and just ask a simple question like, what am I supposed to do now? Right. So
it's unfortunate that our culture, and many cultures actually,
just
because our parents are our first real connection to culture of any kind, and they're the biggest influence that we have from birth. And unfortunately, it's just like we talked about ancestral DNA, I believe, one time on the phone, and how karma is passed down ancestrally too, and like that. If we could rework, refocus, relearn how to help our little ones who are coming into the world, like be more woke from birth, because could you imagine how powerful we would be if we had that from birth, with coping skills? I mean, I know we all need to go through what we need to go through in order to grow stronger. But if we had that toolbox, I think we would grow even brighter.
Yeah.
It would just be such a higher level of understanding and consciousness that would be there.
And I tell people, like, I don't, it was a rough childhood. It was a rough, growing, I should say, but I would never change it for the world, because, I wouldn't be who I was now.
Amen. Right? I agree.
Yeah. And it's hard. And and I look at sometimes when someone asks me, like, if I were to paint my, like my self-portrait, it would be me looking through a window, asking God for help and no one coming, and me realizing that I have to take this journey by myself. Like this, it's all up to you, and that's, which is a point of time to realize something, but also I was a kid, I mean, to take on that responsibility to find my own, and so that's why I go back just to that mentor, because I really did have that conversation today. I'm like, it just would have been so nice to have someone, and I know, I'll go back to Soul Collective, who has this men's forum, and where men can talk to younger men.
That's nice.
Yeah, and
much needed.
And I was telling everybody, I go, my goal for 2021 is to tell men I love them, is to say I love you. And I know I don't give a fuck if you don't say anything, but I'm going to say that to you, and then we'll see how that goes.
That's amazing, though.
And I had Andrew, I had him talking about that too. Like, we're going to do that, and see what, and he always tells me, love. I'm like, oh, love you too, or love, back to you. So
yeah.
I do think that as much as people are unique and different, we're much more similar. And there's so many things as far as like our own traumatic experiences, or like intergenerational trauma that gets passed down. And for many of us who do find a healer or a mentor or a therapist, however we call that name that finally guides us through, we come almost on like our hands and knees. We're like, the impact of this trauma has affected our ability to relate to others. So, and we're just tired of it. Like we can't go on. And you're right. It's like, is it possible for us to intercede, if work with kids first before they have to get to that point, before they have to like go through so much to figure out, I can't keep going this way.
Yeah.
And as I was listening to, but there was, with my own like mentor or healer, I tell myself stories in my head, right? Like when we talk about anxiety, I see them as like these negative stories. Like that person must really think I'm horrible, or the worst thing is going to happen tomorrow. And this healer told me, she's like, just tell yourself or listen to that story and then say, that's an interesting story. Just call it a story for what it is. A cool story. Now what?
Right.
And it's, we really do, like, we cripple ourselves. So we become so small, and so much is going on outside of our heads.
Yeah.
Like, so much of our reality. And I'm just so curious you must work with people who come to you with similar questions like that. It's like, the world feels heavy. My life feels heavy.
Right.
It's difficult for me to get out of bed, or for me to interact with people because I just think that I'm going to say the wrong thing, or I can't let them in because they'll hurt me or take advantage of me. And how does one begin that journey?
Those are all such a personal inner reflection. The world is always going to be a very challenging place.
Yeah.
And it's getting more and more challenging as we see. It's up to you to choose how you want to feel about what's going on around you. Like you said, it's a story. You can write your story any way you want to write your story by how you choose to think about it. Like, you can feel beat up, you could feel down and out, but that's because you're giving so much of your energy away. If you really focused on you through these trying times and not on the TV, not sucked up in the news channels, wondering like, oh God, what are these people doing over here? What is happening over here? We're in a pandemic. People are dying all around us. There is like things happening right now. But you could also be like, I am in an amazing part of time.
Yeah.
I chose to come here to experience what we're going through right now. That is an honor. It is a blessing. We have the ability right now. We're in history. We're making history. We are part of history.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? Are you going to be stuck in your room freaking out the entire time? There's nothing you can do about what others choose to do, how others choose to react to the government, how others choose, there's so many things happening.
Yeah.
You could be a part of the positive side of things. You could spread the light and joy inside of it. You don't have to focus on the negative. And it's really based on how you choose, because it's a choice. It's an absolute choice for you to sit there and dwell and put yourself in that perspective. Or you can, like I said, become the victor. You don't have to sit there and take on everybody else's bullshit. This is the world.
Yeah.
I have this reference with my mom. I call it the Wonder Woman thing. You know how her bracelets, you like ting, ting, ting.
Yeah.
Like there comes a point where you kind of have to realize that outside forces are just outside forces. You don't have to be engulfed in it.
Yeah.
It's your choice. You can learn from those things. Yes, reprogramming.
Reprogramming constantly by the powers of 3 chosen words to remind ourselves of our self-evolution can be helpful. Affirmations.
Absolutely. I am are very positive affirmations,
Okay.
You could choose like sorry.
You're welcome.
You sit there and you self-talk these horrible things to yourself. Like you were saying how you write that story.
Yeah.
You could rewrite the story with, that's a very good tool, is positive affirmations. I am powerful. I have an abundance of all that is good. I am a brilliant life coach that is out there helping people change their whole entire life stories too. Anything you want to be, you can be it in this world. You don't have to limit yourself to this bubble that, culture and all these people think that you need to fit in this box. You don't have to. There's so many opportunities out there. And I think people get really tied down into thinking these negative, ideologies and perspectives that are given to them from birth. It's very harmful. And go ahead.
Sorry, I'll read this, Ruben.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cobal says, like a quartz crystal can record energy, so can water. By consciously transforming the sacred waters within through thought and emotion, we can become anyone.
Yes. Have you, I know exactly what he's talking about, of course. Have you ever, there was a study done about water. Okay. This scientist took water and he had the same water from different places, put in bottles. He had it tested, and he looked at it in a microscope, and he was able to see it almost looks like snowflake crystals, different shapes. And he had people sit with this water in a cup or a bottle and concentrate on different emotions: anger, fear, frustration, love, happiness, laughter. And he then took those bottles of water and put it through the same test and recorded that the molecules actually change shape. And he took pictures of this. So what basically is happening is, through your intentions, through your emotions, since our body is I can't remember the exact percentage of water, but we're so much made of water that if you took a glass of water and you sat with it and you thought of love, and you put that love into that glass of water and you drink it, you're ingesting that love. And that love is actually, that water is changing the molecules and the structure that's going into your body, and you're digesting it. So if you're out there and you're living in fear and you're drinking that water, imagine the water of fear that you're drinking. And it's an energetic thing. So like the same thing's happening with like animals. The way that they're harmed in mass, productions, we're ingesting that. We're ingesting that fear, So there's things that are happening all over the world that are very harmful, but you can go and you can take a glass of water and you can ingest that into your soul and into your spirit. And it actually creates a form of change in your own molecular structure.
So Jan wears her bracelet all the time. That's what she wanted to say.
Like her Wonder Woman bracelets?
Yeah.
I like that.
That's her protection.
Dr. Emoto might know.
That's the water person who did the water.
75 to 80. I was going to guess. I was like, I think it's 75
I thought it was 80, but I wasn't quite sure.
So now we're going to go to a little, I do like a little segment here. And then we'll come back and talk about your, I want to put up your website, and I love having you here, by the way.
Thank you.
We love, I want to talk for both of us, but I can't.
Okay,
I respect Carissa so much.
I'm not disrespected.
I'm having a great time. It's been an
and I appreciate it. We talked about coming out here tonight and being open and honest and spontaneous about what we're going to talk about. There's no questions or questions around, right? So, no. But I want to put up, for me, I decided this year that I'm going, even though I'm a Taoist at heart. I'm a Mexican Buddhist, or what you want to call it. Like in a sense too. But I also realized that I've learned from a lot of men, right? A lot of men, So this year I'm gonna really, I have to say that people that protected me in my life were women. People that helped me were women. So that's how I, probably became, sensitive in some ways, right? But consciously, when I've learned about things, it was through Thich Nhat Hanh, Lao Tzu, just men. So this time I've decided, this year it's like I'm really going to try to learn more from women, just because of the and I love that Kamala is the first woman vice president and woman of color too, and that makes me, because of the energy. Because the energy is there, and so that makes me excited this year. Mm-hmm. That the woman's energy is becoming that. And I think Andrew, last time we had this show with Carissa, Andrew and I were talking about let's step back. Men have fucked up shit already.
That's a good conversation. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I'm all, let's let we're good. Let women take control.
We see what you've done with the place, but not only women, but us outside of men, right? Like non-binary.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, energy-wise too. So energy-wise, I'm like, let Mother Earth, right?
And someone other than the predominantly powerful white man.
I didn't want to go there. But
oh well, I'm going to go there. I'm white.
Yes,
I'm going to call it out. Yeah, I just really think that we need to have some brown and black folks all up in there. A mixture of all belief systems. It doesn't need to be one. This is such a huge culture melting pot of a place that we live in, this world, and there's so many different folks out here that need to have a voice, you know?
Yeah, and that's right. You know, for me, it's all about vibrations, and so and it's about
this doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you know,
it doesn't matter. I've had this.
Unfortunately, it does in this place right now, but I'm hoping that that changes.
Evolution, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, and then, how do you say the last name?
Seen. I don't know.
Okay, Carissa.
I call him Nopal, but yeah, you said it right.
Seen.
Nopal. It's hard for me too. It's Nawa.
It's Nawa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's a very difficult thing for me to say. I don't got that like that, but I'm learning.
And I'm learning. I have to talk to the Aztec because we had a very storied past. So we talked about that earlier too.
Yeah, that's a powerful one.
Because we fought the Aztec. Mm-hmm. So and in where I'm from. So we'll talk about that. We'll get all together though. It's good. It's going to be good. I love it. We're going to have a Cali Cocktail Hour. Everybody get back together.
That'd be cool. That'd be great.
Yeah. So So because where I'm at, we have Huicholes and we have Zacatecanos, Sestecanos, and all these tribes that were So, anyways, so we'll get back to there. And
in the ancient times, woman, by the powers of the moon cycles of 13, guided the world until men stepped in. Ugh.
Yeah, I knew it.
He's very right.
No, yeah, exactly.
I go through this virtual connection.
That's what I love. It's all spontaneous and bring it out because it's true, right?
It's very true.
Men have really messed up this place, and it's going to be up to women to help.
Just needs a balance.
Help. Yeah, keep the balance, right?
I agree with balance because I think there's a beauty to men that they're.
I agree.
Thank you. It's the hair.
I agree.
The curls,
they're not evil.
You are beautiful. You are worth loving. You're just.
I'm kidding. Okay.
There needs to be a balance. You see, we talk about mirror work, and I really would love to hear more about your. Is right, Chris. I say that with love. I don't think men. I love them too much. That is my problem.
Yeah. And and we're going to go back to also too because I want to talk to you about earthing. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Absolutely.
So we'll come back and we'll cleanse the palate again. We'll come back and we will get to a point. And I'd really sometimes I just like the I Ching. I pick something that is really unknown to me, but it's the person that I really go for. So
you're a student of life.
Yeah.
Amen.
So we'll go. Yeah. I think. Yeah. There you go.
This lousy world, this lousy people, this lousy government, this lousy everything, lousy weather, lousy blah, 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 blah. Pissed off, like it's too hot in here, it's too cold, don't like the smell and the person's too tall in front and too fat next to me and they're wearing perfume and I'm allergic and just, So he says, the analogy is that you're barefooted. It's like being barefooted and walking across blazing hot sand or across cut glass or a field with thorns. And your feet are bare and you say, this is just, it's really hurting. It's terrible. It's too sharp. It's too painful. It's too hot. Do I have a great idea? I am just going to cover the whole. Everywhere I go, I'm going to cover it with leather. And then it won't hurt my feet anymore. That's like saying, I'm going to get rid of her and get rid of him and get the temperature right. And I'm going to, ban perfume in the world. And there will be nothing that bothers me anywhere. I am going to get rid of everything, including mosquitoes, that bothers me anywhere in the world, and then I will be a very happy, content person. We're laughing, but it's what we all do. That is how we do approach things. We think if we could just get rid of them or cover it with leather, then our pain would go away. Well, sure, because, then it wouldn't be cutting our feet anymore. I mean, it's just logical, isn't it? But it doesn't make any sense, really. So he said, but if you simply wrap the leather around your feet, in other words, shoes, then you could walk across the boiling sand and the cut glass and the thorns, and they wouldn't bother you. So the analogy is, if you work with your mind, instead of trying to change everything on the outside, that's how your temper will cool down.
And we're
That was
back.
great. That was lovely. I like that.
Yeah.
What Corrie was talking about, sort of this personal responsibility, right? Instead of like the world's happening to me, it's like, what am I doing to hold myself accountable or responsible?
Yeah, which is funny because I was like, oh, it's perfect. And I pick it like, I'm like, okay, it's got to be 2 minutes. It's got to be, people don't have that that much attention span anymore, but I think that was a great analogy of what we're talking about anyways, too.
I agree.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Is that we're trying to change everything around us, right? And no, we just need to change ourselves and a little bit more compassionate toward everybody. And I really try. Even, I think we talked about this too, is like, even the people that we don't agree with, I still love them. And I know that there is pain and suffering without all of us, right? Even though I don't believe what they believe in, I just try to listen to them and try to figure out like what is the common denominator that we have together. Rather than like and I know that it's sometimes it's hard to do that too, right?
It can be really hard.
Yeah. So and I do want to go back, go to the earthing part of like what you wrote down too, because I do that naturally, and I love that you put that down in your website too. So if you can explain that, what that part was too for it. So.
Well, it's a grounding technique. The Earth has electrons, and if you're just able to, like, we've given ourselves so much space between nature and ourselves. We act like it's something outside of ourselves, and I think that's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
We need to come back to realizing that we're completely made of nature. We are one with nature. So when things are happening around us, it's also happening within us. So if you're feeling low on energy, or maybe too high on energy, like you just don't feel, maybe you're floating even, you don't feel like you're able to sit with yourself. It's a great exercise to be able to just take your shoes off, take your socks off, go sit outside, even if it's under a tree. It doesn't just have to be your feet, but to have that actual connection, skin to earth.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to the beach. You don't have to go to the forest. You could sit in your backyard, go to a park, anywhere. The earth is all around us. You're sitting on it. So, any of those places, and it actually comes up through your feet because there's so many receptors in your feet.
Yeah.
Everything comes through your feet. Or out of your feet for that matter. And, it's amazing to be able to take part of that into you. Breathe with it, sit with it. And it's just the way you feel afterwards is so much calmer. You just feel at peace. And that's just like from like 20 minutes even. Of just taking some time for yourself, taking a moment to breathe and sitting with earth.
Yeah.
That's part of you, earth.
Yeah.
We've come a long ways from realizing that we're still connected to that.
Well, every year I go, like, why don't you have a birthday party? I've never had a birthday party, like ever. I don't think, I go, no, you're always leaving because I go to the ocean. I go to the ocean. I go to Jenner where the the spoke is, the power source. And I go there and I put my hands in the ocean. I listen. I go, no, I have to get my body back to the earth, back to the natural rhythm. And I'll sit there, close my eyes and listen to the ocean and get that natural rhythm back too. And also think that if you celebrate your birthday, that you set a mark off for your life, right? Instead of it being a continuous energy, it is like, okay, I'm going to do this now, blah, blah, blah. And I'm always about continuous, right? Continuous energy, continuous life, And so one person that thought there was Prince, but he, ended up, doing that too. But it's for me, that's why I love when I saw that too, because that's what I did, like naturally, and I felt that way too. Is that you feel that from? I mean, and it's great that you can feel it now, and I think people understand that now because we're in a pandemic and we can't go anywhere, and and we see it, so that's a very beautiful thing, I know Japanese do this thing called urban foresting.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is they go out into the parks and they do the same thing. Even though it's like, 10 feet away, they walk around and enjoy nature and feel it, right? And feel the energy and to be healed themselves and back into the, into so.
Yeah.
Is that, see?
You'll have to excuse me.
We have controversy again.
Yeah.
So Donnell said, good thing having perspective kindness brings peace. Yeah.
My dog's just gonna bark, and
that's okay. That's okay. I was like, what? Yeah.
I love doggies.
The dog park of feelings.
No, that's so.
We really got to get rid of the rubber soles on these shoes that cut the electricity from the earth. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to continue that one.
No, that's a really awesome point, right?
Mm-hmm. I actually got the, I guess, privilege. I went to Arizona on a retreat. Toltec belief system. Have you ever heard of Don Miguel Ruiz Jr.?
Yes.
He wrote the 4 agreements and the 5 attachments and
yes,
those types of things. His family was having a gathering, and I was blessed enough to be able to go. And at the end of that, we were there in the desert for 3 days, and at the end of that, we got to walk on fire. And I was scared shitless, to be honest with you. I was like,
I would too.
I don't understand how this works. And then, like, when they made us sign waivers, I really got scared shitless. I was like, I don't understand how this works. But then they explained it. They were like, if you could build your energy higher than the fire, then you will literally snuff it out as you walk. There's nothing on your feet. There's nothing holding you back from that. And this just brought me back to it because that's part of Earth, the fire, the pain that you're going through. But the amount of fear that was held up inside of me before I took that walk, because I did it twice, actually. And the amount of fear that came off of me after I went across those coals, I had a fear of needles. Yeah. And I went and got tattoos, like literally right when I got home, because I was just like, how much is fear holding me back from?
Yeah.
And so, that I know it's a little off subject of earthing, but just how powerful that experience was to be able to realize energy and how at play it is. It's very powerful.
And Gopal said, it's like it is that we do have that misconnection, right? From the rubber. I mean, rubber is a conduit, right? Or it stops it, right? And if you take your shoes off, right? If you go in the sand, it feels so good. Yeah, it does physically. But if you think about it, I would say in a metaphysical way, right? That is pure energy running through your body at that point. And so that's why, like I said, I that's what I do every year, except for this year. And I had to find a different way to do it, right? So walking meditation, I do this series of leaves that I do. And this is the first year that anybody's ever commented on it, because this year is the first year probably in ever that people had to take walks to get outside. And now people are starting to see things, right? Like, oh, that's a beautiful leaf, or that's a dead leaf, or, and I think that's a lot of it is right now that we have that time. And I know that, space and time and having, we always have like these clutters and these distractions, right? For us to think about things. Like I've been through so many things. Last week I was all about forgiveness. I forgave myself. I go, if I can forgive my father, why have I never forgave myself? Right? And I was like, so, I sat there because everything happens when you sleep. Like when I dream, I can go back in my dream and fix my dreams, or I can, I'm like, what was I thinking about? Because you don't have any control, right? You're like, when you're waking, you're like, I have control of my thoughts. But when you're asleep, you have no control. And then you wake up and you're like, okay, why am I thinking about this so much? Well, I can, like I said, forgive my father. And also the other times I was thinking of all the people that I knew, like I wish that I had a plug that I can not think about people, but I think about my friendships. I think about the people that were in my lives, and I really, really emote to that. But I wouldn't turn that off for the world, because that's who I am, right? And I think that we're all like that. But now that time has slowed down, that we can think about stuff that happened in our past, right? That is who we are now, right? And I think you talked about fear today too. and how that that rules us too, right? So, but and
fear is big, especially.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at the way the world is. Our own government, the guy who's running it right now, like he really spews a lot of that rhetoric, and I think that's just heightened. It's like amplified.
Yeah.
What was already there, Yeah.
And it brought it out, right? People, it's like I said, your vibration. There's a lot of vibrational, connection to that too, but people don't realize that too.
Right.
How powerful words are. Like politicians can't say no, that didn't work because they use that all the time. So,
but I thought, Ruby.
Hey, Ruby. Ruby says hi, Ruby. Hi, Ruby. Ruby's an awesome artist. She's a great poet, story writer too, and she's going to come on soon. She better come on soon. So. And she has a wonderful store too. Awesome, store. So
I wanted to go back to two things. Ruben, I didn't know you went to the ocean for your birthday, because it was like I do that every year too, and I joke with people that I'm like, I need to go yell at God for a bit.
Yeah.
And it's always been this experience of like resetting and reflecting and setting intentions.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything to do with, you're right, like it wasn't anyone told me that's what to do. It just felt it was like called to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I go to the forest. I'm usually at the
There's a space that really calls us. And I remember years ago, for me, just randomly taking a class on like meditation. I was like, okay, I guess I'll take it. Why not? And the instructor informed us, he's like, to meditate or to be present in a moment means to like fall in love with it so deeply. He's like, if you're having a cup of coffee, if you're sitting outside, it's like, how does the wind feel? How do the leaves feel? But be so in love with that moment, because when you're in love, you experience not love as for a person or anything, but like, you just, the flavor, the taste, all 5 of your senses are fully engaged. And as Corrie, you're describing your grounding exercise, and like, it reminds me of that, like to be so in love with that moment, because you will never be in that moment again. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, I think someone commented earlier, like how we talk about heavy subjects with a smile on our face. I'm like, it's an act of like defiance to be joyful, or to be like, okay, shit happens. Shit happens, and I've done shitty things. And it's like, but then what?
Yeah. I remember going to a party. This guy's like, Ruben, you're so smirk. You're always smiling. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, you're not going to like make me not smile because now you're calling me out on smiling. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's somebody trying to lower you to their vibration.
Yeah. I've been done with that for a long time. I'm like, okay, well, you can think about that. You do whatever you want to do. But for me, it's all about and for me, it's all about energy, right? I go, I don't, physical self, that's great. But, if I go down more deeper, then I can't go there with you anymore, And so we have one more here.
Fear, sustos, causes our spring to step away from our bodies, and it takes work to being yourself back to. Takes work to being yourself back to being. Takes work to being yourself back to being.
Yeah. Sustos.
So, you talk about energy work, though. I'm not familiar with energy work.
Yeah.
Well, everything's made of energy. It's ever flowing, but you can manipulate and move it. It doesn't go away. Like with Gopal, he taught me part of his belief system. They use sacred smoke as a way of not only moving energy, but sending energy and prayers to the ancestors, to the spirits, and the universe in general. That's how you manifest. That's how you do those types of things. There's so many ways to use it. Sacred smoke to me is probably the best way for me to move energy. It helps me it's like Olympia. Have you ever had Olympia?
Yeah.
I'm overdue.
Okay, so you've had one.
I saw that. I was going to tell you about that. I saw that. So.
Oh, did you? Did you notice that I needed Olympia?
Well,
right? There's something about it. I would have to say the most powerful, one of the most powerful. Nopal's done. I call him Nopal. Gopal's done many Olympias to me as well. But one of the most powerful ones was from a man in New Mexico, and he used an egg, but he also used tequila. He spit tequila on me. I was so grounded when Gopal saw me. I was literally sitting on the floor, and I couldn't get up. And he's like, "Have you taken a shower?" I was like, "No." He's like, "You might want to. You're a little too grounded." It's just the energy work that, because you're being your conduit. It's the same thing with Reiki. You're using yourself as a tool for universe, for God, to put that energy and to help move that energy into other places, or remove and bring in the light to somewhere that might be too dark for someone. So if they can't do it themselves, you're just basically helping them with that effort. I mean, they still have to do their work by all means.
Yes, Gopal. Let's not wait for our birthdays anymore to shed them old skins. Let us remember every day, every hour, every moment. It's a chance to do that birthday work.
Oh,
thank you.
Although, I do go to think like, is there such a thing as overhealing yourself? Like, you got to give yourself a break, right? It's like you have to like breathe sometime, because every night I go to bed with something in my headphones, because I have to clear off all the energy that I saw for the morning, right? Whether it's a tape about, like right now it's about Buddhism, right? So I go to bed, thinking, the art of communication from Thich Nhat Hanh, right? Or making friends with my anxieties, right? So, but sometimes I need to take a break from that too, because it just becomes overwhelming if you're always in that space, right? And I get what he's saying too, but I'm always at that point now. I'm like, okay, just take a break. Let's let everything soak in, because I'm always feeding myself information, because I'm always feeding myself this, diet of negative news, right? But I have to see it, right? And like, let's say Wednesday, I literally sat there and go, you know what, this is history, right? I'm not going to miss it. I don't like it, but I'm not going to miss it for the world, right? Thursday, I was torn up, wore out. I think everybody was, but and then so I do look at that stuff too, and also like for my like I said, being an artist, like this space is a healing space, right? It's a virtual. I mean, it's all energy. It's pure vibrations. I've never seen my co-host in 2 years. I've seen Carissa once, maybe in 8 months, right?
Yeah. We like show up online. We're like, hey.
And we have to find that energy. I found that energy myself. I found the energy here, right? And so this is like a really great spot for us to, and it would be great to have Gopal, you, Teresa, everybody, just in a way that, because we, energy does transform energy, right? And everything that we're all saying here is wonderful. But I just think, like I said, we have to find our own spot, right, too. And but I do want to.
It's important to live. You have to live as well. I mean, how else are you going to continue to grow?
Yeah, and I want to can I put up your
please,
where people can contact you at?
Oh yes, please.
Yeah, sorry, because this is very important, because you do life coaching.
I do.
Right. Yeah, and but like I said, we are really glad that you're here with us too. And this is your Facebook one, or
that's the Instagram.
Instagram, okay, because I think we had a little bit of things. So, so follow you on this is your handle right here on Instagram.
Soul Garden is the name of my life coaching business.
Yeah, and then Facebook. That's
that's
and
the Facebook.
And your website. No, sorry.
That's not me. That's not my face. That's
there it is. Right there it is.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And so for your business yourself, like, what do you life coaching wise too? How do you bring people into to help them out too?
What do you mean? How do I bring?
Like how? I mean, how do people contact you?
Oh well, usually through the website. You could contact me through there. There's a spot on there as well, where you can put in your information, and it goes straight to my email.
Yeah.
And I also, through Instagram, any of the posts on there that you can see, or you can message me through Instagram or Facebook on the Soul Garden thing. I'm connected both ways.
Okay.
I believe my phone number is on those as well.
Yeah. So it'll be lifecoachinghelp.com.
Yes.
Right. And because we're already 21 minutes over our. I told you that too, right? I said, we go for an hour, but it's always an hour and a half. So, right. And I don't want to keep you two going, but it's great having you here.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to do this. It's been amazing.
And we're going to keep going if you have a little more time too, because I'm sure people. So if anybody has any questions out there for you, and but I think See? A question.
That has a question.
I do not know what that means. We have to have a dog translator, but that's another show.
He wants mom's attention. That's what that bark was.
Yeah. So she's like, yes, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody out there too, we appreciate you coming for Cali Cocktail Hour. We'll be here next Friday at 9:00 all the time, every Friday for you. And we'll have someone. I think Teresa's going to come on soon. I think either this week or next week.
Oh,
we'll have her on too.
I'll have
but
to
and maybe it'll be good to have all of us on there, and just to see we can really talk to everybody and then kind of feed off each other too.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
And what's going on too. So and thank you, like I said, thank you for coming on and
absolutely,
and actually sharing your story and sharing your vulnerabilities too. I think when we share our vulnerabilities, that's when people really emote to things. So
yep, it's important. Our journeys are important, all of them.
Yeah. So we have some. Let's hold on a second.
Thank you so much. And I love that Ruben brought up like overhealing is an issue, but the way you're rocking them feathers facing downward traditionally can be used as a tool to create roots into the earth, so grounding, just like Corrie with them dreads.
Thank you.
Hey,
Copal, I wish I would have showed this piece that I did because it was of this agave when I went to Oaxaca, right? But it was in a graveyard, so a panteon, and it was on top of the mountains in Oaxaca, and it had a big cross on it, and it had the big agave on it. But so when I did it, I do what I do is I'm a visual artist, so I did this manipulation move, but it's all coming down, and I was like, oh my gosh, so should I change it because it's coming down? But I had like these images coming down, the sky coming down, and it was a very like. And I like that you said that because I was having this issue today of like, should I make it going up, right? And I'm like, no, I don't think so because it's really the earth is coming back down, and that's what I thought about it because in Oaxaca's a very indigenous place, right? The Zacatec, most Mixteca, and so when I drink it, I know that I'm drinking my own blood, so to speak, and the agave goes through me, and all that stuff. But I love the fact that he said that tonight because that actually helped me with an art piece. So thank you. Yeah.
Yep. They could be these bad boys can be antennas. They can be roots,
right.
Both directions. It's important to have that balance.
And
Hi, Carrie.
Yeah.
She's a life coach as well, Miss Carrie Jones. She's amazing too.
Well, maybe we'll have everybody on here. We'll have
some good energy.
Yeah.
Yes, I will see you all soon. But Ruben, when you mentioned the overhealing, it's like this assumption, if there is an assumption that healing is supposed to feel good.
Yeah.
It's not a true assumption. It's like it's painful.
It's very painful.
I do overheal myself too. I have to take a break. I'm like, okay, we've
masochist.
Well, yeah. I'm all pain-filled this way. You thought that was good. What about this?
How badly do you want it?
Yes, you want to be, so yeah. Which actually probably is right because you extreme to the other point, right? Because
that's why I say balance.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. That's a funny part. So, go goth.
Yeah,
patrons?
right.
Yeah. So, yeah, but like I said, we appreciate you coming on, and so what did you think tonight? Painless. Painless.
Oh, it wasn't painful at all. I think
we're still live though, right?
No,
yeah, we're live. I hated it.
And you know what? Sometimes this is the best part. Like last week when with Carissa and I think we stayed on almost an hour over talking about what we just talked about, right?
Yeah.
With Andrew.
We went to sleep at like 2 a.m.
Yeah. Carissa goes, I have to go.
I don't know if I can stay up that late.
I have to.
No. Carissa goes,
I'm seldom the person that needs to go to bed, but I'm like, it's 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I will see you all soon.
Teresa, I love you.
You guys are wild. You have no idea.
Yeah, and blessings and healing doesn't have to be boring.
No, it needs to be fun.
Yeah.
Laughter is amazing.
Yeah. So, but thank you for coming out tonight. We really appreciate it too.
It's been
Anything
a
else?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say to everybody out there?
I just, I wish everybody healing blessings of love and light. I know we're in some trying times, and just keep your mind focused on love. Keep your mind focused on your own healing powers and how to rise up from the ashes of all of this, because you guys are all very powerful people. whether you believe it or not, you are all very powerful people. And that's something that you really need to start telling yourself, because you have that power within. You have that power within to heal everything about you and to bring it out to others, to share the world. You can heal the world one person at a time. You don't have to think that you're just so small of a person, because it's like a chain event. You heal yourself, you heal yourself, you heal yourself. Everybody's healing, and it just brings love and light to the world.
Yeah. Carissa, what does Mia have to say?
What does Mia have to say? Mia has to say that she's probably needs a walk and it's hungry, but she's very grounded. She grounds like, but she's my saving grace. I've always struggled with seasonal affective disorder, and this is the first year in over a decade that I have not experienced that. And even on my worst days, it's like I see this little face, and it's like she reminds me that animals don't consider what happened yesterday or what's going to happen tomorrow. They remind us to be present.
Yes.
And so, we get to worry and anguish about the future and get to stress about what we've done in the past, but I'm reminded to just be present. So it's always a pleasure to be here with all of you. And it is a blessing to still be here physically and emotionally. So
yeah.
And always grateful for Ruben and for bringing like such interesting, everyone has a story to share, but I just love that he chooses really unique individuals to share their path and their journey.
It's been an honor. Thank you, Ruben.
And Chris says, thank you for sharing yourselves with us tonight. Yeah.
You are welcome.
Yes, you're welcome.
And you're going to come back again soon, right?
Amen. Yes, have me anytime. I will be honored to be here.
Yeah.
Love it.
So it'd be good to have a power, not power. Well,
I want to witness this, feel that like, I don't know, vortex type like energy.
Well, and with Reiki too. Reiki? Sorry.
Reiki, yes.
Sorry.
You got it. It's all good.
Yes. But we can also put the energy out, right? Because that's basically what we're doing now, right? This is we're putting this energy out of good energy out tonight. So
that's one thing about Reiki. You don't have to be fully present. You can do healing from afar. You can sit it anywhere. Yes.
So this is yes, Copal.
Yeah.
Right.
Copal,
I don't want to speak for Ruben actually, but you do Feelings Friday.
Yeah. So yeah, Copal. So what happened was, what happened was when the pandemic first started, I just I went out on live on Facebook and just see if anybody wanted to talk. And there was a lot of emotions, the scary, and it was very intense at that time too, because there was a lot of, people were thinking about suicide and, just all these thoughts, and that people really needed someone to talk to. And that's how this show became part of what it is now. So, and which I'm glad that we don't get such intense thoughts anymore, but you're always welcome to, because I was thought like I will talk to you no matter what, but so it became an evolution of what this has become. So yes, it is every Friday night. It's Feelings Friday. Drop your feelings off. We'll talk about anything you want to talk about. We can go as deep as you want and as shallow as you want. So and that's what I love about this show. We have a beautiful community out there that we reach out to. So yeah. So, and Corrie, we're glad that you came out here and trusted us to yeah. So yeah. And Gopal, maybe we'll have you on here too, if that's great too. So
you guys are in for it.
Goodbye, cabin fever.
Where's Gopal? Where are you at right now? Where is Gopal at?
He's up towards, he's in the mountains towards Bear Valley.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect spot to be in too, right?
He's in a beautiful place for sure.
Yeah. So anyway,
I miss him.
Yeah.
I haven't got to see him in so long.
Yeah. She said it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, like I said, we appreciate everybody coming out and,
that means a lot to us, survivors of suicide.
Yeah. And you know what? The thing is too, is like, I've had 3 friends that, passed away my nephew passed away of suicide, right? My friend passed away of suicide this last month. And another friend that was, questionable. And I've, feel bad, and it's something that happens, probably more now than in usual, and I will be there for anybody that wants to be talk. Like even if you need to emote. I see Maya says the same thing too.
Yep.
So I'm glad that like we can be out there for you guys and everybody out there. So come here every Friday night. And you say whatever you want to say, because we will take it and we will honor it. And this is a place to honor that energy, because it's all energy, right, at this point.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, and that's what I love. Yeah.
Yeah. I told you, you'll be in for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said,
in a good way.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, right? It's all about giving and emoting, and we've all been through some shit in our lifetimes, and I love cussing because it really emotes what I had a fucked up childhood, and you had a fucked up childhood, right?
Not all of it, but yeah.
But there's the parts, right? And I love, someone asked me today, like I talked to my sister today, I'm like, someone asked me, my partner, asked me, like, she always asks me, like, tell me something of something good of your childhood. I'm like, I can't. I can't tell you something. I want to, but that's okay too, right? And so, and that's where we come from, right? That's how life is. Life sometimes, like I said, I would never have someone say, have their mother die when they're 4 days old, right?
Yeah, right.
But that's me. I've learned from that. I was handed this, this thing in my life, but I would never trade it for the world.
Right.
But I've also had this energy work that I had my mom to talk to, or to transfer this energy. And, I know people go through a lot of stuff, and I'm not going to be a person to be like, well, my trauma was worse than your trauma, right?
No suffering Olympics, no.
Yeah. I mean, so we've all had, and that's what and that's how I go. And but I appreciate everybody. And I really, really appreciate you, Corrie, for telling your story.
I appreciate you for having the platform to tell the story.
Yeah. And I think everybody here, like, really, say emotes to that too.
That's my bestie, Miss
Well,
Dina
that's
Watson.
good though,
Yeah, I love her. She's amazing.
See?
Oh, Corrie, we got to get you up here. So he wants you up there.
Yeah.
And do that meeting together. Copala's a fucking good time. Okay.
There you go. See? That's what I'm saying. It's okay to cuss.
Yeah,
love
it. And cussing actually really brings out the emotion of it, right?
It really does. No,
So,
I think especially in times of joy when it's like it's a fucking good time.
That word "fuck" can be used for so many things. So.
Say, Copala, I'm gonna hug you right now. Feel my energy right now. So, yeah, and it's like cussing is like adding that little that element to it, right? I fucking suffered, but I made it here right now, right? This is my path. This is my story, right? Corrie, this is your story. Carissa,
Amen.
This is your story, right? We're here now, sharing with you, and hopefully that, like I said, I wish. And we'll go back to the mentors. I wish that there was someone just to talk to. And say, hey, yeah, there is.
We've created a platform. You've created a platform for the.
So, yeah. And hugs.
I have a whole new family. Oh,
yeah.
I love that.
I remember I tell my cousin, like, family doesn't mean blood.
No.
It really doesn't. I'm like, I learned that when I was a kid. It means like, who we are out there and the community that we present, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, before I get too emo and start playing some emo music, I love you guys out there. I really do. I appreciate you coming out tonight. I appreciate Corrie for coming out. Carissa's Carissa helped me out so much, so I appreciate her all the time. Because even last time we came and I had internet issues, but she was just on it. So, yeah. And, helping me out. I'm like, so that's great. Yeah.
You helped me out today, so that was wonderful.
Yes. We all do. That's all we can do, right?
Yeah.
It's like life, as you said, is hard.
Yeah.
And it's like all we can do is be a little bit kinder to each other and help each other through this. I think Prince, what was the quote by Prince? We're all just trying to get through this little thing called what?
Life.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Hold on.
Hold it, play it.
I did make a wait, hold on a second. See,
No,
I made a candle. Yeah.
Dang.
Dearly beloved, we are gathering for this thing called life. So, see, Maya.
Mia agrees.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's awesome.
So, anyways, say light and love for all your journeys, and light and love for all of our
Back at you,
journeys.
Dina. I love you.
Yeah, because we all have stories, and we all have pains and sufferings, and we all are our pains and sufferings. That's the common goal of all of us. So, or the common thing of all of us. So, that was amazing. So we're gonna go off live. If you guys stay on just for a couple of minutes, so I can say goodbye. The after party will begin afterwards. Yeah. Anyways, thank you everybody for coming out. Thank you, Corrie.
Yes, thank you everyone for showing up. It was amazing.
And we'll have you back too. And thank you, Carissa and Mia, for telling us it's over our time. Because I did want to say it was 37 minutes over our time, which is perfect. So, anyways, thank you everybody. Come for next Cali Cocktail Hour on Friday. We'll see you there soon next week. Thank you. And
bye.
Adios. Good night. We love you.
And
yes. Oh, hold on a second.
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Thank you, Ashley.
Ashley's one of our stalkers.
Oh, that's good.
No, we love Ashley too. Ashley's a fucking anyways. At this point, I say fucking everything.
Yep.
But it's a good one. No, it's a good cussing word that I use.
She's
It's
a
actually
good fucking stalker.
Yes. Yeah. A great artist, great singer, and she's she studies
Awesome.
plants.
Oh,
So,
good medicine.
Yeah. Yes. So, anyways, have a good night, everybody. We'll see you next Friday. And thank you, Corrie. Thank you, Carissa.
Thank you.
And we'll see you at the after party.